Every transformation, whether spiritual, emotional, or practical, begins at the most basic level, your habits. Stoicism teaches that a person does not rise to the level of their goals. They fall to the level of their habits. When Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, or Seneca spoke about inner strength, they weren't talking about overnight miracles. They were talking about daily disciplines, small, repeatable actions that reshape your thoughts, your reactions, and eventually, your entire character. And if you truly want to change your life from scratch, Stoicism gives you 12 foundational habits that become the structure on which a new version of you is built. The first reality Stoicism makes clear is this: your mind is the architect of your destiny. Whatever life you are living today is the result of yesterday's thinking patterns, emotional impulses, and behavioral routines. If your life feels chaotic, it's not because you are broken, it's because your habits are misaligned with who you want to become. The good news? Habits can be rebuilt. Stoicism is not about changing the world. It's about changing yourself so you can face the world with greater clarity and strength. The first Stoic habit is radical responsibility. Stoics believe that the moment you blame circumstances, people, or timing, you hand over your power. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." When you take full ownership of your life, your actions, your emotions, your reactions, you become unstoppable. Responsibility empowers you to stop repeating old cycles. Instead of saying, "Why is this happening to me?" you begin asking, "What can I do about this?" That shift alone can rebuild a life from scratch. The second Stoic habit is mastering your emotional responses. Most people react instantly to insults, fear, frustration, or stress. Stoicism teaches the opposite. Pause before responding. Claim those few seconds of silence before letting your emotions take over. This one habit can save relationships, prevent regrets, and preserve your inner peace. You begin to understand that emotions are natural, but letting them control your actions is optional. A calm mind makes better decisions, even in chaos. Another crucial Stoic habit is living in the present moment. Your life becomes heavy when you carry yesterday's regrets and tomorrow's anxieties. But the present moment is the only place where real change happens. Seneca said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality," reminding us that most pain comes from thinking, not living. Focusing on the now allows you to take action without fear, comparison, or hesitation. When you rebuild your life, the present is your construction site. The past is only a lesson, not a prison. Stoicism also emphasizes intentional solitude. People fear being alone because silence forces them to confront themselves. But solitude is where wisdom grows. It's where you hear your true thoughts, understand your values, and rebuild your direction without external noise. A few minutes of daily solitude, reflecting, journaling, or simply breathing, can give you more clarity than hours of conversations with others. Then comes the habit of self-discipline. Stoics believe that discipline is freedom. Without discipline, you are ruled by impulses, comfort, laziness, cravings, distractions. With discipline, you rule yourself. Change begins not with big actions but small commitments. Waking up earlier, finishing what you start, saying no to temptations. Each disciplined choice strengthens your character like a muscle. Another life-changing Stoic habit is accepting what you cannot control. This single principle can eliminate half of your stress. When you stop fighting things outside your power, people's opinions, the past external events, you conserve your energy for what actually matters. You stop being emotionally drained by everything that happens around you and instead become laser-focused on what you can influence: your choices, your mindset, your actions. Stoicism also teaches gratitude and contentment, not as passive acceptance but as awareness. Instead of chasing endless validation and external success, you recognize the blessings already present in your life. Gratitude grounds you. It reduces envy, comparison, and restlessness. It helps you rebuild life from a place of strength rather than from desperation. But perhaps one of the most transformative Stoic habits is learning through adversity. Instead of fearing challenges, Stoics use them as training. Every difficulty becomes a lesson. Every mistake becomes a stepping stone. When something goes wrong, the Stoic does not break. They bend, adapt, and come back stronger. This mindset alone can rebuild anyone's life, no matter how shattered things seem today. At the core of all these habits is one truth: self-mastery is a daily practice, not a final achievement. You don't become wise, disciplined, or unshakable in a single moment. You become that through repetition, through choosing growth over comfort, clarity over confusion, purpose over distraction. Rebuilding your life from scratch is not about starting over physically. It's about starting over mentally. When you apply these Stoic habits consistently, the external world begins to shift naturally. You speak differently. You think differently. You carry yourself differently. When your habits change, your identity changes, and when your identity changes, your entire life transforms. If Section 1 explained why Stoic habits can rebuild your life from scratch, Section 2 explains how these habits actually work, one by one, when practiced consistently. Stoicism is not theory. It is action. These 12 habits are the practical blueprint for transforming your mind, your reactions, your character, and ultimately the direction of your entire life. Each habit is simple to understand but powerful when lived daily. Let's explore them deeply, with the mindset of someone truly ready for change. And radical responsibility. The first Stoic habit is taking ownership of every part of your life. This doesn't mean blaming yourself for everything. It means accepting that your response is always in your control. When you adopt this habit, you stop waiting for miracles, apologies, or perfect timing. You become the driver, not the passenger. This single shift empowers you to rebuild your life because nothing changes until you change. 2. Mastering the pause. Stoics call it the gap between stimulus and response. When someone disrespects you, you pause. When fear shows up, you pause. When anger tries to take over, you pause. This simple habit protects your peace, your relationships, and your character. Instead of reacting emotionally, you respond with intention. Over time, this pause becomes your superpower, saving you from regrets and unnecessary drama. 3. Focusing only on what you control. This is one of the deepest Stoic lessons and one of the most life-changing habits. Every day, life throws situations at you that you cannot fully control. People's opinions, outcomes, delays, mistakes, uncertainties. But your attention is a limited resource. When you stop wasting it on things you can't change, you reclaim your energy and use it where it matters. Your actions, your mindset, and your preparation. This habit eliminates frustration and builds unshakable calm. 4. Morning reflection. Marcus Aurelius began each morning by reminding himself of the kind of world he lived in and the kind of person he wanted to be. This habit transforms your mornings into a moment of clarity. Ask yourself, what values will guide me today? What challenges might I face? How will I stay calm and wise? With this practice, you begin each day not on autopilot but with purpose and strength. 5. Evening review. Stoics end their day with reflection. Instead of drowning in guilt or overthinking mistakes, they study their behavior with honesty. What did I handle well? What could I improve? Where did emotion overpower wisdom? This habit turns each day into a lesson and each mistake into a step toward self-mastery. Over time, you refine your character and sharpen your judgment. Stoics practiced controlled hardship to build resilience. They avoided excessive luxury, challenged themselves physically, and embraced tasks that required discipline. This habit strengthens your mental toughness. When you willingly face discomfort, waking early, exercising discipline, doing difficult tasks, life's challenges become easier. Discomfort becomes training, not suffering. 7. Gratitude as a daily practice. Gratitude for Stoics is not emotional positivity. It is awareness. It is recognizing how much you already have before you chase more. This habit protects you from envy, comparison, and insecurity. It brings focus to what truly matters. When you appreciate the small blessings, health, peace, relationships, opportunities, you naturally cultivate inner contentment. Gratitude gives you emotional stability, no matter what life brings. 8. Living in the present moment. The Stoic trains the mind to return to the now. Most suffering comes from the mind, wandering, regretting the past, or fearing the future. But the present moment is where action happens. It is where strength is born. This habit teaches you to bring your awareness back to your breath, your surroundings, and the task at hand. When you live in the present, you perform better and feel lighter. 9. Building self-discipline. Discipline is a cornerstone of Stoic transformation. Without discipline, your emotions drive you. With discipline, you drive your life. This habit is built through small practices, keeping promises to yourself, avoiding procrastination, limiting distractions, staying consistent. Discipline gives you the power to change your life deliberately rather than by accident. 10. Acting with wisdom, not impulse. Before making decisions, Stoics ask themselves, is this wise? This simple question can prevent bad relationships, poor choices, unnecessary fights, and long-term regret. This habit brings maturity. Instead of acting from emotion, you act from understanding. It teaches you to think beyond the moment and make decisions aligned with your values and future. 11. Maintaining a calm circle. Your environment shapes your identity. Stoics deliberately choose peaceful, driven, self-respecting people. They avoid drama, gossip, and negativity because these destroy inner stability. This habit teaches you to protect your energy by protecting the company you keep. A calm circle brings a calm mind. 12. Using adversity as training. Stoics believe that everything that happens is an opportunity to grow. Sharpen your character, develop strength, and deepen wisdom. A setback becomes a lesson. A betrayal becomes clarity. A failure becomes direction. This habit turns pain into power. When adversity becomes your teacher, nothing can truly break you. If Section 1 explained the foundation of Stoic transformation, and Section 2 broke down the 12 habits in detail, Section 3 reveals what happens when you live these habits consistently. True change doesn't come from reading Stoicism. It comes from practicing it until it becomes part of your identity. When these habits become your daily operating system, your entire life begins to shift in powerful, irreversible ways. 1. You become emotionally unshakable. Most people live at the mercy of their emotions. A small insult destroys their day. A setback breaks their confidence, and uncertainty paralyzes them. But when you practice Stoic habits, especially pausing before reacting, evening reflection, and staying in the present, you develop emotional armor. You stop overreacting. You stop taking things personally. You stop drowning in anxiety and regret. The world doesn't change, but your response to the world becomes almost unbreakable. 2. Your decision-making becomes sharper and more mature. Stoicism trains you to evaluate your choices with wisdom rather than impulse. When you pause, reflect, and focus only on what you control, your decisions come from clarity, not emotion. This affects everything: relationships, career choices, friendships, money decisions, personal boundaries. Instead of living blindly or repeating old mistakes, you start making deliberate, intelligent choices that move your life forward. 3. You break free from mental chaos and overthinking. When you practice gratitude, present moment awareness, and the distinction between control and non-control, your mind becomes lighter. Overthinking decreases. Fear loses strength. Regret stops haunting you. A calm mind becomes your natural state, not a temporary mood. 4. You build inner discipline that changes everything. Discipline is the foundation of results. When Stoic habits teach you to wake up with intention, face discomfort, and stay consistent, every area of your life benefits. Your health improves. Your productivity increases. Your self-respect grows. Discipline silently transforms you from someone who hopes for change to someone who creates change. As you embrace calmness, wisdom, and responsibility, your energy shifts. You naturally move away from drama, negativity, and shallow connections. You begin surrounding yourself with stable, mature, growth-oriented people, and your life improves instantly because your environment becomes supportive, not destructive. 6. You become resilient in the face of challenges. Stoicism teaches that hardships are not obstacles. They are training. When you adopt this mindset, life becomes less terrifying. Failure becomes learning. Rejection becomes redirection. Pain becomes strength. Nothing can truly break a person who sees adversity as a teacher rather than an enemy. 7. Your self-identity evolves. The biggest change happens inside. You begin to see yourself differently. Not as someone who reacts, but someone who responds. Not as someone who is overwhelmed, but someone who is in control. Not as someone who drifts, but someone who leads their life consciously. These habits slowly reshape your identity into someone strong, mature, calm, and purpose-driven. 8. Life feels simpler and more purposeful. Stoicism removes mental noise and emotional clutter. You begin to focus on what matters: your values, your character, your growth, your peace, your direction. Life becomes simpler, not because problems disappear, but because your clarity increases. You stop chasing everything and start choosing what truly deserves your time and energy. 9. You live with greater gratitude and contentment. When gratitude becomes a habit, you stop feeling empty or left behind. You begin to appreciate the present moment, the people in your life, and the blessings you once ignored. Contentment doesn't make you passive, it makes you stable, peaceful, and grounded. 10. You gain control over your life's direction. When you combine responsibility, discipline, wisdom, and reflection, life stops happening to you, you start happening to life. You no longer drift based on emotions, distractions, or external pressure. You set goals with clarity. You stay consistent. You build the life you want intentionally, brick by brick. Final thoughts of Section 3. These 12 Stoic habits aren't just routines. They are a transformation framework. When practiced consistently, they change your mindset, behavior, relationships, and life direction. They turn you into someone who is grounded, resilient, intelligent, and peaceful, someone who doesn't break easily, someone who thinks clearly, someone who leads their life with purpose. With these habits, you don't just change from scratch. You rebuild yourself into the strongest version of who you were always meant to be.